Okay, this is the quiz corrections for quiz 3-1B. And I'm going to go through and explain how to do each of these, and whether you got it right or wrong, you need to pay attention and take some notes and explain the ones that you got wrong. And for every question, I'm going to pause it after I go over it and then ask you one that's similar. And you have to try all of them, even if you got them right. So number 1. Which of the following equations written in point-slope form could be the equation for the line in the given graph below? And this particular question it was using point-slope form. However, you could have just graphed all of those equations into the calculator to see which one matched. I'm going to talk about it through this, though, point-slope form. So remember, the first thing is your slope. And my slope here is very steep, which means that it's not going to be the 1/2. That helps me eliminate it. Again, you can graph them all to see what happens. And then the point is the opposite of what it says for each of them. So the inside is the x, so that's the opposite. The outside is the y, and the opposite would be 2. Down here, the inside is the opposite, the outside is the opposite. And so if I plot these points, 1, 2, and then 2, 7, the one that goes through the line is letter D. But again, it's about just graphing it to see which one matches if you don't understand point-slope form. Number 2, I'm going to show you a skill on the calculator, and then I'm going to talk you through how you could have done it without the calculator. So on the calculator, we're going to go to a graph page, and we are going to delete the equal sign and pick a relation. And we're going to type in 4x minus 5y equals 48. And then we press menu 5, 1. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to find these points. So I'm going to type in -8 and press enter. And -8 goes to -16. So this means this is not my answer. So A is out. Okay, I'm going to move down to C. So I'm going to go to a new graph page, pick a relation, and type in 5x minus 4y equals 48. And again, I'm going to do menu 5, 1 and type in -8 to see if I get -22. And I do, which means I don't stop there. Then type in 0 and I get -12. 4 gives me -7 and 12 gives me 3. So C is my answer. So that's how you use the calculator. The other option is, hey, that's the y-intercept. If that's the y-intercept, that means the x value is 0. And if I say the x value is 0, the x value goes away, and I have -5y equals 48. Well, if I divide, I get -48 over 5. That's not -12. Same thing here. That goes away. So now I have 5y equals 48, and I divide by 5, and I get +48 over 5. On this one, the x goes away, so I have -4y equals 48. I divide by -4, and I get -12. And then this one would have been 4y equals 48. You divide, you get +12. So that's how I would have done it without the calculator, using your x and y intercepts. Number 3. Number 3 was the one on the quiz that I actually omitted from your grade because most people did not get it right. And you really need to use point-slope form, which will always be given to you on the STAR test, so you just have to know how to use it. But you can also type these into the calculator and see which one goes through this point. You need to know where the slope is, though, and the slope is always in front of the parentheses. So since my slope is -5/4, that makes that one out. And then the point is the opposite number. So x is, this would become a -2, which is here, and this would become a +7, which makes that my answer. And this one is saying I have -2, 7, and this one is saying I have 2, 7. Again, this is really a calculator. Graph and then do menu 5, 1 to see which point. Okay. Number 48. X and Y intercepts. This goes back to what I did at the end on number 2. If I want to find the x-intercept, that means y equals 0. So I have 3x equals 48. And I divide, and I get 16. So my ordered pair is 16, 0, which eliminates those. And then if I have my y-intercept, that means that the x equals 0. So I have negative 8y equals 48. And when we divide, we get negative 6. So my ordered pair is 0, negative 6, which makes C the answer. Okay, on number 5, which equation in standard form has a graph that passes through the point negative 8, 2 and has a slope of 13 over 4? If you notice on your answer choices, all of them are the same. So if you solve all of them, you're going to get 13 over 4. And so what I would do is called plug and chug. Here's my x, here's my y. I'm going to plug them in. Your other option is to just graph them like we did on number 2 and then go check the point using menu 5, 1. So you have lots of options. This one to me is the fastest. And so I'm going to take 13 times x is negative 8 minus 4 times y is positive 2. And then I'm going to go to a calculator page and type it in. So on the calculator page, I have 13 times negative 8 minus 4 times 2. And I get negative 112, which means B was my answer. Okay, number 6, which inequality is equivalent? We're looking for the one that's exactly the same. And so really you could have graphed this and saw which one overlaps, but we didn't practice that. We practiced how to solve for y, and we spent a lot of time doing it. So brick wall, box in your y, minus 2x to make a 0 pair. I have negative 5y equals 20 minus 2x. These are not like terms because this has an x and that one doesn't. And then we divide all of our terms by negative 5. So I have y equals, that divides and gives me negative 4. That divides and gives me a positive 2 over 5x. And if I were to rewrite it, I would say y equals 2 over 5x minus 4, because the 4 was what was negative. And the 2 over 5 is positive, so that makes B my answer. And then the very last one, which graph represents this equation? And so this is just go into your graph page, delete the equal sign, and type it in, negative 5x plus 3y equals 15. And which one matches? Well, it's going up, so it can't be a negative slope. And then it's very steep, and it's above the x-axis here, so C is your answer. The other thing you could have done is said, hey, my y-intercept, if I divide by 3, my y is 5, and so that would have been here and here. And then if I take this one and I divide, and I have negative 5x equals 15, that means x equals negative 3, which is here. And that could have also given you your answer.